Coach, what a game. Multiple lead changes. Your team had to play disciplined. How would you assess this victory for your group tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's fought through a lot of adversity out there, whether it was foul trouble, missed free throws, some kind of sloppy play on offense. But we kept guarding, just kept staying in it, kept making them take tough ones. Everything was contested. Our defense was really on point. We just – obviously Ant gets hot at the right time. Jaden McDaniels had an outstanding second half. And Rudy continues to be excellent, just playing at such a crazy high level for us. So.
Yeah, you're mentioning all the different difference makers. Going into this one, I asked you about Ant just in that opening quarter, and now he steps up in the overtime to close it out. What are you just seeing from him from a leadership standpoint to step up for the big moments?
Well, listen, he loves the moment. We know that. We still got to get better at closing out that game in regulation with some of our decision making and ball movement and getting using the defense against them a little bit. Guys who like the moment are oftentimes few and far between, and we're lucky we have one on our team. So,
Chris, you said before the game that this was going to be a test of your defense against their offense. Just how did you see them respond to it in terms of what did you like most about the connectivity out there
on our defense? Yeah, I love our physicality on the ball. I thought the mistakes we made were the ones that didn't cost us a lot of open threes. We were really on point with a lot of our coverages. I didn't think anything was blown there. They got a couple cheap looks in transition in the first half, not much in the second half from that, and really just sat down and guarded them when they wanted to play one-on-one. So.
And then just kind of the overall toughness that the group exhibited today. I mean, just taking some punches, Cat not playing well, Rudy missing free throws, and yet overcoming that. What do you think about what this can mean going forward as you try to build on the identity that you want to establish here?
Yeah, I think, certainly the physicality of the defense leans into the identity. We've talked about being a mature team, being more mentally tough. Not letting things get to you. I mean, again, Jaden was frustrated. His shot wasn't going in. They weren't guarding him honestly in the first half. Just needed to see one go in, and stuck with it. But he kept guarding throughout, really smart, didn't get frustrated by it. Show it to yourself, and maybe it becomes a full-time habit, but we got to keep doing it, so.
Chris, you mentioned them not guarding Jaden honestly in that sort of way. What just overall the way they kind of matched up with you guys? What did you need to do against that?
Yeah, I mean, it's you can't play mismatched basketball against that type of defense. I mean, they just come out. They got great length. They got really good defenders. Their switchability is a problem. Whenever we did move the ball and we just kind of made the easy play in front of us, they still got to come out and they still got to guard. And I think it's mentally challenging sometimes because you think you want to take on all these matchups and overcomplicate the game, but the reality is those things will reveal themselves if you just kind of play within the flow a little bit more. There were more opportunities. I probably should have gotten the ball to Cat down the stretch there in the post with Holiday was on him. And maybe we could have gotten something calmed down and good at the rim there. But in general, we made enough of the right plays, but it was really all about our defense.
Ant obviously got hot in overtime, but what did you think of his decision-making in the fourth? I think I can recall at least 3 assists there.
Yeah, I thought, when he draws a crowd and he makes the simple play, like the Jaden corner 3 was huge, big right at the right time. Just has to be willing to do that, and then things will loosen up for him when he wants to kind of go to work. But again, with him, it's just all about getting him to go a little earlier because of the amount of time that they see, or the amount of time that we leave on the end of the clock once we start moving the ball. So
I feel like it's another level this year just in terms of Rudy as a deterrent at the rim. It just seems like teams don't even really want to test him right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's back to the Rudy that, we had to face for many years, which is a real problem. I can't speak to what other teams' philosophy is, but, I think we're doing a lot better job of making it harder for people to get to him too. The drives are not clean, open line drives like they maybe were a year ago. But he's getting out on the perimeter and he's doing everything we need him to do in rotations. So certainly been a big factor for us.
One of the big questions tonight for you guys was how would you deal with a stretch big like Porzingis, and you used a bunch of different bigs on him tonight. What was your thoughts on kind of your team's early positioning against him and kind of forcing him into spots he didn't want to get to?
Yeah, he's so long. You got to close him down quickly. You got to try to put your body on him as much as you can. I thought guys did well on the switches that they got to him quickly, so it took away his bounce game, his catch and shoot game, and and then when our bigs were on him, they were able to kind of play him a little more straight up. So great job. He can get hot and hurry, and it's always key with those types of guys to not let him have two in a row. When he made one, they went right back to him to see if they can get another one, and we didn't let him get a look off. So that's kind of locking in.
And we've seen fouls sometimes get the better of Jaden, frustration, things like that. He starts 2 for 10 tonight, but it didn't seem like it led to any kind of frustration or really faced him. Kind of what does it say about maybe him and his makeup that he's able to just kind of pass behind him there?
Great. This is the maturity that we need in all of our players, but you got to keep doing these things. One time could be an accident, 2 times it might be a coincidence. If you do it 3 times, it's probably a habit. We got to get to 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and every time then it's part of the long-term growth.
It seemed like a lot of the times when Rudy was on Porzingis, it was on Porzingis' turf, more or less. 15 feet, sometimes 12 feet away. It seems like, that's a difference, it seems, this year compared to last year in terms of his ability to not only guard people, but guard bigs out on the perimeter and do that kind of work.
Yeah. And he's really bought into what we've been asking him to do, which is, kind of be in normal rotation like you would be. Last year we just sent everything to him and kept him as far down the floor as we possibly could. And, that's just psychologically hard to watch. Just whether he's great or not, it's just hard to watch people living in your paint. So we came into the season with the mindset that we want to try to own the paint in all of the ways that we can. And, when he's got to get out and guard his guy too, he's done a really good job of cutting down the driving lines.
And Nas gave you a lift when it's his first stint off the bench. But are you finding that, you mentioned it the other night when you played the 3 bigs, you used him for defense as much as anything. You're getting more and more confident of him playing defense on the floor and putting him in almost as much for that reason as his offense right now.
Well, right? Listen, I put him in because he's one of our best players. You got to play your best players. You got to figure out how to play them, and sometimes it might lead to some funky lineups. So you got to find ways to get him on the floor. But what I will say is that when I look out there and see matchups, I have tremendous confidence in his ability to compete. I saw him on Hauser one time. And it doesn't matter. We know they're going to put him in action. He's done a good job of defeating that as best he can, using his length and his intelligence and not fouling. So.
Chris, I think you've won 4 in a row at home to start the season for the first time in a long time. That was a raucous atmosphere in there. Just what did you think overall of that environment and maybe this fans kind of appreciating what they're seeing in the effort?
Well, great. It's been we've had great crowds. The energy's been great. The numbers have been good, really, really good. Building's been jumping. We've played some big teams. We played 3 of the 4 semifinalists so far, so we've given them a good look at some really good teams. It's a fun place to play when we play like that, and we just want to keep working hard and put out a team that people are proud to root for because we play hard and hopefully play the right way. So.
Maybe compared to where you were 2 years ago,
Yeah.
a year ago, how far has this group come in your mind? Just the toughness and makeup.
Yeah, we've come a long way, but it's a very different group too. When I first got here, it was so young. By nature, those guys, are dealing with a lot of things, and in adjusting to the league and figuring out who they are and confidence and whatnot. So, but we have a lot of guys who've, Kyle, Mike, Rudy in particular. These guys they kind of anchor our our mental toughness, if you will, and and everybody's kind of slowly following suit. But we have just a more business-like approach to everything that we're doing, and practices and game plan and walkthroughs and shoot-arounds and all this stuff. And it's paying off because the little details that we talk about are being executed. So